Right now, welcome back. Our special guest is, standing by. We're going to be connecting with him all the way from the Upper West region. You don't want to miss out on that. It's in 52 minutes off the top of the hour. We have about some 38 minutes to interact with him. It's going to be fun. It's going to be mind-blowing. So don't you forget, you can check us out. AfricaGlobalRadio.com, that's online. Shoot us a message, +233 207 064 680 on WhatsApp. Instagram and Twitter at AF Global Radio, and on Facebook in full at Africa Global Radio. So on now to our special guest. He's a spoken word artiste extraordinaire, I should add. He's a tutor. He's a lover of mankind. That man is, he's a human being, I should say. He's an actor. He's an instrumentalist. He's a jack of all trades and master of all. It's not easy to do that. He writes poetry. He does spoken word. He acts. I mean, what can I take out? Well, we're going to hear from the horse's own mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, poet Pobee Mwintombo joins us this afternoon. Poet Pobee, a very good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Just a little bit of static, but I think I can hear you just fine. How is the Upper West this afternoon?
By the grace of God, great.
Well, it's been a wet morning here leading into the afternoon. Is it same there? Any wetness this morning leading into the afternoon, or is it just heat as is to be expected?
The weather actually...
The weather's what?
It's so cool here. It's fine.
It's very cool.
It's fine. It's so cool here.
Great. Great to know. Well, you have a number of pieces that you've done, a lot of work under your belt. To kickstart this conversation, how about you deliver one of your powerful punches, artistic, poetic as well. So, I'll throw the ball into your court. What are you going to do for us? What's the title? And do take it away, Poet Pobee.
Africa na take say, Africa na takes, Africa na takes, Africa na takes say. The scientific study of people pertaining to their body makeup and stature might be termed as genetics. But I do not want us to talk about genetics. I want us to talk about Africanatics. That is, the social study of the people of Africa in relation to their inherent characteristics and culture. Mwintombo, that is what I call Africanatics. I do not want us to talk about anything horrible or perhaps something horrible. I do not want us to talk about the beautiful people who were stolen here from Africa and sent down into America. I do not want us to talk about the chains that held them down in perpetual pains, or even the ropes that tied their necks as they were being led captive into Europe. I just want us to talk about the beautiful people of Africa prior to the advent of Europe and America. I just want us to talk about the good old days when we practice our own ways. Do you know that in days of old, our people lived in caves, but not because they were slaves? My grandfather said it. He said it was from his grandmother that he had it. My grandfather said his grandmother said the whole of Africa is one big united family. Grandfather then told me as a grandson, Nyana, to mean that Africa will shine brighter than the sun. Grandfather said.
And that is poet Pobee Mwintombo, of course, sharing with us some of his art.
Equally mindful of the city.
Well, a bit of static there owing to the connection. Of course, we're using Zoom, but you can see live in living color, basically, poet Mwintombo, poet Pobee for short, performing in the background there. Poet Pobee, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome performance there. And something I took out, Africa must shine, and then you refer to the good old days when we practiced our own ways. It appears nowadays a lot of what we stood for in terms of culture, in terms of values, we're losing a lot of that to, if you like, westernization, easternization, and so many things. We're imbibing so many things that are not who we are. How do you feel about that?
Well, that has actually been one of the biggest headaches that I have always had because, as you have just rightly said it, we are losing our essential cultural element into modernization or westernization, Islamization, as you call it, and that's not really a very good sign. But some way, somehow, we still have one or two young men, one or two African youth visionaries who still believe that, yes, the good old days is actually ours, and then we must see how we can bring back the good old days. And in our own small way, through our poetry, that is what we are bringing back.
Awesome. And of course, here in Ghana, we have something called Sankofa, going back to take what is good. If it's good, you don't throw it away. Yeah, we can dig into the past and take back what is good. This is Arts Africa right here on Africa Global Radio. Poet Pobee, when did you first discover your master craft? I mean, you even sing sometimes. I hear you sing, you play instruments, you write, you perform with these instruments and all that. You do spoken word. In which order did they come to you? I mean, when did you realize you could do all these things? And which one stands out for you?
Well, as it stands out for me now, as you have said, it has been a journey. The first journey, or what I began with, actually has to deal with speaking. At a very tender age, or at a very young age, I was spent so much time with my grandmother, and she always told me some great stories about her father, my great-grandfather, who was a military veteran, and then they sang the songs of war. And growing up, I have always loved to hear people express themselves. So that is how my grandmother then named me as Mwintombo, which means God sent. So first, I started with my ability to speak. I could get information as it being passed on to me. Then I make sure that I get it in whatever way I could get them. Then from there, the writing thing came up. I actually got into this whole writing thing at another younger age as well, where I used to write just signal greetings to my neighbors. Sometimes I wrote love letters, either from myself or from my bigger brothers. I wrote to them, then they gave them out to special people. The writing thing came up. Then still growing up at the point, I just began to feel that, oh, music is the rhythm of life. Music is the soul of the food. So I began blending some of the old traditional music with the spoken performances. I danced back into other traditions of our people. Then I began to bring these things back again, and moving on, that came in as well. So I began, I will speak, I will write, I will dance. Then still moving on, instrumentation still came in, like I'm playing some live musical instruments or performances like that. That also came in. And of course, accent is one thing that I have always loved to do, also began to come in. And that was how we came out with a new word, or I coined it out, called poetry drama, which is a blend or an also fusion of both. It's not just drama, but a blend of these two. Then I named it poetry drama, which of course I move around all the schools here in Ghana and then sometimes beyond there, reaching and then acting it out for students to get to have a feel of the good old days or what it really means to get into Africanity.
Wow. That's quite an interesting start for you. And I find it interesting. So is it your mother or your grandmother who gave you the name Mwintombo, which basically means godsend?
The name, as I said, actually came from my grandmother. Her name was Larva.
Okay.
And then Larva in my native language actually means Tuesday because she was born on a Tuesday. So they named her after that particular day, Tuesday. So she's called Larva Salmanja. Yeah, so she gave me the name Mwintombo, which means God sent. It actually has a more bigger connotation. It could also mean what should God forsake? To mean that God has not forsaken any other thing.
Wow, that's deep.
For each and every single thing.
Beautiful one there. For a beautiful personality like you. And of course, so by adding that, you've told us a bit about the story behind your name. So that's how you acquired that name. How about Pobee? Is there any story to it?
Well, Pobee actually is my surname because certainly I have my origins. I'm a Ashanti Dagati. So I have part of my family coming all the way from the Dagara people, then also partly, so I'm a Fanti and a Dagati. So I'm a Fanti Dagati. So in the Fanti side, I have the name Pobee, which is my surname.
Okay.
That's I was born with. Then my grandmother actually named me Mwintombo.
Wow. Then I think I could call you a Fagati. Fanti and Dagati. That's a beautiful mix right there. Anyway, so Poet Pobee, our special guest this afternoon, spoken word artiste, tutor, actor, instrumentalist, and more. What inspired you to do what you do? Spoken word. What inspired you? What was it that, got you started thinking, I have to do this? And I've seen you in action, and you're absolutely brilliant. I mean, your characterization, your costume, we'll be talking about that, but how did it start for you? What inspired you to start doing this?
Well, basically, at a point in time, when I look at the happenings in society, the good, the bad, the ugly, some things went my way, others didn't go my way. Then daily, I kept seeing cases of injustice. I kept seeing, cases of theft, cases of child abuse, the good, the bad, the ugly, comprising. So, as a writer, I felt I could add my voice to see what trendings I could also contribute to make society a more better place. That was basically my inspiration to get into writing. So I began writing about basic issues, and from there, I began graduating, bettering myself, moving bigger and then better into more technical things. So right now, my writing actually cuts across all forms. So the inspiration actually has always been to help make society a better place than I met it.
Wow, that's amazing. We're going to be taking one, it will intersperse our conversation this afternoon with poet Pobee Mwintombo with some of his performances. But right before we get to another performance, your languages of expression, they are many, they are varied. What goes into the choice of those specifically? So do you speak the Fanti, of course the Dagati, yes, but which languages do you use as your tools of communication when you do your spoken word?
Well, so basically, I blend elements of my L1, which is the Wale or Dagari language. Okay. Then also as a poet, my biggest zeal have always been to add value to myself. So I do speak elements of Arabic, elements of French, elements of... So I have all of these elements in my poem so that I don't have just a limited audience. I'm able to reach quite a great number of people. And then doing it also, as I said, I use the drum, I use my fly whisk, I do use
other I've seen you do that,
which emphasize certain rhythms.
Wow. Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful one there. So those languages, all of them factoring in, some from here, some from outside of the continent, and you're fusing all of them so beautifully. But Pobee, now if you're ready, we'd like to enjoy one of your, masterpieces. And I don't know which one you're going to give us next, but you can give us the title. For all your audience across the world here in Africa and in the diaspora, all across, the continent and beyond, do share with us what the title is of your next piece, and let's hear your performance all the way from the Upper West region of Ghana.
So this next piece is entitled Days of the Coming Beauty.
Right.
Ayilihu wapechane. We have found the way, therefore we can see the day. Days of brightness and the days of togetherness. Days of the coming beauty, and it is surely coming as a shining reality. Even at the peak of pent-up pain and frustration, I will say this over and over again, that we have found the way, therefore we can see the day. Days of brightness and the days of togetherness. Days of the coming beauty, and it is surely coming as a shining reality. I ask you, can you feel the rhythm in your heart? Days of the coming beauty, where the proud sons and the daughters of Africa shall light up incendiaries, singing the songs of liberation from now through to the final destination. Mama ye, hey, 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 Africa. Oh. Days of the coming beauty. Days of the coming beauty, where the scattered sons and the daughters of Mother Africa throughout the diaspora, who for their motherland the day and the night did the toil, shall yet again return to the original soil after days of dreadful desperation and the years of painful separation. Days of the coming beauty, where all the people of Mother Africa shall strive for the common good of Mother Africa, speaking, saying in Kabum, Ubuntu, Pamoja, get together Africa. Days of the coming beauty. Days of the coming beauty, where none shall begrudge his neighbor, nor claim a single identity, but where all the people of Mother Africa shall strive for the common good of Mother Africa. Yet again, speaking, saying in Kabom, Mugama, Ubuntu, Pamoja, get together Africa. We have found the way, therefore we can see the day. Days of coming beauty, and it is surely coming out a shining reality. Even at the peak of pent-up pain and frustration, I will say this over and over again, that we have found the way, therefore we can see the day. Days of brightness and days of the coming beauty, and it is surely coming as a shining reality. Can you feel the rhythm in your heart? Sing with me. Mama ye, hey, hey, Africa, oh, days of the coming beauty.
Days of the coming beauty, which hopefully will be the reality of our continent. And of course, if you loved that, you can give us a mama yeah. But Pobee, very interesting one you just gave us there. And we'd like to apologize for those of you watching the live feed, those of you listening to the audio online. It crackles up a bit. Of course, it's because of the online connection. So do accept our apologies there. There's not much we can do about that, but we're hoping you're having fun on Arts Africa, live on Africa Global Radio, of course, brought to you in collaboration with the Creative Writing Academy. Well, so something that stood out for me, your rhymes, how you were able to piece things together and all of that. How long does it take you to memorize a piece like the one you just shared with us?
Well, basically, with me as a person, memorization means a lot of things to me. In memorizing a piece, it could first of all mean me reading the point over and over again. Sometimes I'm able to memorize some within one day.
Okay.
Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you now. You're able to memorize some within a day?
So some a day, others will take a week, others will even take a month to memorize it.
Wow,
but
a whole month?
Than not, whatever, a whole month, yes. One of the longest work I've memorized is Things Fall Apart, chapter 20. I have all of that in my head.
Wow. You mean the book? Or is this a piece that you've written?
The book Things Fall Apart.
Okay, by Chinua Achebe.
I know
Wow.
all of chapter 20 by Chinua Achebe. The whole of chapter 20 is right up in video on that one page very soon.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, I never thought of doing that. I've read that book like from cover to cover twice or so, but wow. I think I have to go back to it and see what I can, memorize from there.
Especially the dialogue between Okonkwo and then history.
Great, great. Of course, Okonkwo, the central character.
Yeah,
of
so
that
if you
book.
memorize, I'm able to memorize within, a day, a week, or a month. But mostly, when I want to memorize, the easiest way for me is to recopy what I have done in whatever my hand writes. So I just get a pen and paper, I try to copy it, and then in the end, it always sticks up in my head.
Oh,
so whatever my hand writes, my mind sticks to it.
Right, right. You have such a beautiful mind. Let's talk about your costumes. Now, they're colorful. Some of them even look of foreign extraction. I've seen you perform, and some of your outfits have looked as though they were from an Indian Sikh. I mean, you add so many elements. How relevant are these costumes to your craft? And how reflective are they of your people and of your culture? Today, I see you in some, fugu or batakari. You have some beads in there. You have a hat, I think made of straw. And you have your whisk, for example. How much do these, reflect on your creative art of spoken word, Poet Pobee?
Yeah, so basically, my grandmother always told me one thing. He always said, if you do not know where you are coming from, you will never know where you are going. When I asked grandmother to explain this to me, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm sure the others can as well, all our listeners and watchers. Go ahead.
Yes. So when I asked grandmother, what do you mean by if you don't know where you're coming from, you will not know where you are going to? And she explained to me that it has all, a man's identity is your culture. So once you don't know your cultural value, you don't know where you're coming from, you will not know where you are going. And in the end, that wouldn't help you to be who you want to be. Plus, I also come from a family of royals. And in the royal families, this is usually how we go. So not just that I am just portraying this only as a brand, but it's also my identity, who I am. My great-grandfather, whom I never met though, they dressed this way and then they did things like this. So when you see them, just know that nobody needs to tell you that this is an African. Wherever I step in the world, be it in Europe, here in Africa, even in Africa, you move from one place to one place, people just get to know that, okay, so this is a typical African gentleman. And it gives me that identity, and I am proud about it. So I know that the costume goes a long way to emphasize that which you do.
Wow.
To a point that here, that's the easiest way people can describe me. When you ask them who is Poet Pobee, the name doesn't even ring a bell. But you say the gentleman who likes to dress in African, who wears this batakali, who does A, B, C, say, oh yes, we know that gentleman. We know him so very well. So mostly the costume even speaks for me. People don't necessarily know the name, but your image forms a lasting impression in their mind's eye.
It resonates with the people. Fantastic. And I've seen your outfits, and I'd say, go full steam ahead. Amazing. Keep it up. I mean, it makes you very distinctive. Let's talk about some of your best-known performances. Which would be your favorite performances of all time? I've seen you perform at the Ghana Association of Writers meetings. I've seen you perform in other places. I mean, some of them I checked out before the show. I mean, live, under certain, in certain settings. Which are your best-known performances, and where did you perform them? Are you always performing in Ghana? Do you ever go outside of Ghana?
Well, I've had a performance in Nigeria that was in November. It actually came through the Ghana Association of Writers.
Okay.
They had an affiliation with ANA, Association of Nigerian Authors. And then I was just there in last year, November, to have a performance for them. And then also I've had other performances in Burkina Faso, in Senegal, and in Mali.
Mm.
But here in Ghana, I performed at the National Theatre, I performed at the Accra International Conference Center, the British Council. I mean, almost all the top
Major
places where
artistic
art is
settings, yeah.
really concerned.
Mm.
Settings have been into those are in place. Goethe Institute, as I
Right.
said, the National Theatre.
Mm.
I mean, all of those places are places that I really have been, and then I've always given nothing but my very best shot of it.
And I know you always do that. You're very energetic in your performances. Do you work out? I mean, how are you able to do it? You're very energetic. You're jumping, you're prancing, you're moving, you're throwing your whisker. How do you do it? Poet Pobee, are you there?
Well, it is a craft, and this is something that I am willing to die. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. So I'm saying that this is a craft, and it is something that I am willing to die for, something that I'm willing to put the rest of my life doing.
Wow.
So I just don't sleep and then wake up into it.
Mm.
Each and then every single day, I make time to practice. I rehearse. When I write a poem, I rehearse it over and over and then over again. I always imagine an audience in front of me, so I keep reciting, I keep performing every now.
Wow.
And then.
Right. So every now and then you're performing, you're doing the usual, the movement and everything. So when you come on stage, it's second nature to you. It's nothing new. It's just you
So that
doing your
gives,
thing.
like, I mean, an ambience.
Yeah.
Just do my thing. Exactly. Yeah.
Great. Let's talk about any collections. Now, I know spoken word artists, do stuff. For example, in France, they have an artiste I've listened to for a long time, Grand Corps Malade. Paralyzed half of his body, but he has albums out there, amazing stuff if you understand the French. But here in Africa, there are people like you, with spoken word who also do same. I want to ask, do you have any collections, any album maybe that you've put together, Poet Pobee?
I do have an album. In fact,
Right.
I launched it 2 years ago. It's entitled The Rhythms of Africa.
Mm.
And in it, I featured Afro-pop singer Noella Weyala.
Right.
There's some other musicians here in the region, and it's been a very great phase. We have it selling on the, iTunes and then Amazon.
Great. And I caught some of those, as you talk about Africa. Amazing. And of course, another stalwart right there, Weyala, who is selling Africa, so making Africa shine so brightly. And that's something that I would encourage everybody. You can share maybe with our listeners, those watching us as well, how they can access your album. You mentioned Amazon?
iTunes, yes.
Okay, so what exactly do they key in to find the album?
Just the name Pobee Mwintombo, or The Rhythms of Africa.
So you heard it, The Rhythms of Africa, or Pobee Mwintombo. Pobee is spelled P-O-B-E-E. And to help you with Mwintombo, it's M-W-I-N-T-O-M-B-O. And by the way, Mwintombo means godsend. And aren't you a godsend, my brother? Now, let's talk about nominations and awards. Have you been nominated for any specific awards? I know you've won some awards. Tell us about them.
Well, actually, I choose to concentrate so much on my art and then not so much of an awards thing. But some way, somehow, yes, the awards.
They still find you. You can't hide.
I remember that of course, in the Ghana Association of Writers in 2017, 2018, I won the Kofi Anyedoku Spoken Word Poetry category. In 2019, again, I won.
Wow.
And in 2020, I was going to win again. But Corona has set in and it has been withheld a little.
Wow.
Then recently, there have been some nominations for what you call the African Millennium Excellence Awards, and then my name have been nominated among some other poets as well.
Wow.
And then I have seen these people have shared the link with me, but I really haven't taken so much action around that. Then in recent times also, we have the northern sector, most, 100 most influential people, and then my name, of course, in fact, I'm the only spoken word artist, among that, 100 categories of people. But those are not really things that really make me so enthused about it. With me, the best thing I just try to do is to keep giving my best shot wherever I find myself. I just do my own thing, not just for the. I was a friend. Some of them come with money, of course. It comes with great things. But the prime thing for me actually has been to concentrate on the art to keep serving the whole wide world nothing but the very best of my craft.
Concentrating
so I've also
on the
won
art.
some
Yeah.
other international
Okay.
Tell
us a bit about them briefly.
Awards as well. I work with other people as well, and then it has just come up. Well, those are things that I just don't like to. What's the name?
Ever the modest personality. Well, Poet Pobee was telling us about some of the awards
I just don't
he's
like
won.
speaking about them, not because I think I had it.
Great. But we celebrate you all the same. And I didn't know about the other one, though. One of the 100 most influential people in the northern sector of Ghana. So combining the northern region, Upper East, Upper West, Savannah, and all of these other regions that have sprung up. And you are one of the most influential people. 100 people selected. And you are the only spoken word artist. That is a feather in your cap, my brother. You ought to be celebrated. Now, let's talk about your passion for the youth. That's something that I know. You're a tutor. And you have a great passion for the youth. You're an instructor. How do you use your skills to impact the youth in your community and your region, the Upper West?
Some way, somehow, this talent of mine actually got more refined while I was back in Adam. Played a very important role to help me to bring out these whole things, besides what my grandmother had always taught me. So when I left secondary school again, I went back to my secondary school again in Bully to help the students there with acting, with dancing, with creative writing, and then of course with their drama club, where I wrote scripts, I wrote poems, I directed them, then they acted them out to the students. Sometimes I didn't join them. If I felt some of the roles were too much for them, I joined the characters or the cast, and then we do it together. And when they gain the experience, I move again to another school. Mostly my teaching has been voluntarily. I just move out voluntarily. I just do my own things out there. So in the past 4 years now, I have volunteered to teach in the 7 secondary schools within the Upper West region, where I just do my free volunteering work.
How much of an impact would you say your interactions with the youth, how much of an impact would you say it has had on them? I mean, do you see any of them taking after you? How do they feel? What do they learn from you? Very briefly.
Well, interestingly, I have trained 1 or 2 gentlemen back in school who now are out, and they are doing great in the spoken word, some of them as well. But when they go to perform, people just ask them, they call them and say, hey, do you know Pobee Mwintombo? The person will say,
wow.
Yes, we see Pobee Mwintombo. The actions you put when you are portraying, doing all of those things, we see Mwintombo in you. And of course, it's a good compliment to me. Some way, somehow, I believe everybody is unique, and I don't want to have my duplicates or my replicates around. But to have people pick up something that you have guided them, then build up on that, and then become more better even than you do, of course, it is fulfilling. And I feel it has been an impact. So I do have colleagues who, when they see me, they just go like, yes, sir, A, B, C, D. Like, sometimes say, thank you for grooming us to be the kind of people that we are today.
Yeah.
And for igniting our passion for the arts. It's been amazing.
That's an apt way to put it. You are igniting their passion for the art. And that's what we also stand for here on Africa Global Radio. And that's why we have Arts Africa. We're wrapping up on the conversation now. You're an actor as well. In fact, I saw you dressed as a woman in one of your, works, and I thought, wow, that's creative. Tell us a very teeny weeny bit about how you got into acting as well.
Okay, so somewhere 2 years ago, I won a scholarship to study at Gallywood Academy of Film Acting in Gallywood.
Okay.
After my Gallywood, after school, but even while I was in school, I auditioned for Choco Trotro, and then I got featured in Choco Trotro. If you remember
Wow.
that particular
Yes,
TV
I do.
series.
I do, in fact.
Yeah, so I got featured in Choco Trotro. Then later, I got a link, a Ginate, for us to work on a project called Royal Diadem, in which I would have been a prophetic seer representing my poetic career or whatever it is that I wanted to do. But some way, somehow, that particular link didn't come up.
Mm.
But since then, I have been writing my own scripts. I have produced, just one or two of my own poem videos, and then just done stuff like that to make it. But for dressing as a lady, it was a shoot that I just went, it's a photo shoot I went to do for one of my upcoming videos, which I entitled If I Were a Girl.
If You Were a Girl. That's interesting. Reminds me of Beyonce's If I Were a Boy. And you are imagining yourself if you were a girl. Well, you would be a beautiful girl. I know that for a fact. Because the picture, what I saw, you wouldn't be bad looking at all as a girl with your hair and everything. Let's talk about how...
Well, I've had a few recalcitrant friends say if I were a girl, I would not get any single man to marry because I look very ugly as a female. I said, well...
That is absolutely untrue. Tell them that I say that is absolutely untrue. But as we wrap up, right before you give us your motivational quote and we wrap up on Arts Africa, in these times of COVID-19, of course, it's impacted your craft and all of that. How exactly has COVID-19 impacted what you do? And what have you done to, circumvent that, to get past the influence of COVID-19?
Well, so basically, COVID-19 actually, it has been a global pandemic, has come with its own challenges here and there. It came with both advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages because performances weren't coming again, no social gatherings.
Yep.
But advantages because it gave me some time to get back into my room or onto my writing board where I did write some of the finest poems that the world is yet to see. And then I have shot a video even on the coronavirus entitled Peace to the World, which I have on YouTube. Just check it out, Mwintombo, Peace to the World. Is a spoken word poem that I have done, and I featured one of the youngest lady in the poem. So it's a duet between myself and then one of my students called Mohasina. We did the poem together. It's currently on YouTube, educating people and also giving hope and inspiration that Corona is here, but it shall be over pretty very soon.
Well, this is where we have to wrap up poet Pobee Mwintombo, but we never do it without taking some motivation from our special guest. Give us a bit of a motivational quote, something, craft something for us this afternoon to, motivate all our listeners, all our watchers here in Africa and in the diaspora. Over to you, poet Pobee.
And so my battery is running low. And all things are now moving in a manner so slow. But I keep asking myself, imagine if I want to grow, who are you to scare me like a scarecrow? Africa Global Radio. Keep listening because this is the home of awakening. I have spoken, may my words not be broken. He who has an ear, let him hear and liberate his soul from fear. Greetings to all of you out there. Mwintombo.
That's an amazing bit. Did you just do that? Did you just craft that like on the spot? Did you just do that?
Yeah, this is an extemporization. It just came up.
You're amazing. You're truly amazing. And you're a gem, and we love you. Thank you so much for your time with us this afternoon, poet Pobee Mwintombo. And honestly, I look forward to the next time I can see you in the flesh. I wish you the very best, my brother. And of course, we've loved interacting with you this afternoon. You take care, and all the best.
Bye-bye.
And that is poet Pobee Mwintombo, bringing us to the end, the climax, I should say, of another installment of Arts Africa, right here on Africa Global Radio. Same time next week, let's connect and let's bring you, accept us in your homes, wherever you are, so we bring you the finest of the arts on the continent of Africa and beyond. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Do enjoy.